Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to USM. This is a new course. Okay, we start. You have this competition between an orangutan and Spider-Man. You can recall that French guy who can climb buildings and mountains. So we put him into this competition between him and an ordinary orangutan. Who do you think will win in this competition? This orangutan or this Spider-Man? Okay, and then we have this competition between another orangutan. We call this orangutan as audience A versus ordinary people who come to our class, sit in the audience, seminar, conference, etc. We call them audience B. Just do nothing, sit in class, listen to your lectures or listen to your seminars. So who do you think will last, audience A or audience B? Alright, again we're going to compare another one which is OU, orangutan, and O, ordinary people, orang. So between these two, OU versus O, who has bigger brain? When I say bigger, I don't mean size wise, I mean the number of brain cells, interconnection between brain cell. Who has bigger brain, OU or O? Okay, this is the real data suggested by well-known neuroscientists. I can't remember her name, I will show you later. Orangutan has approximately about 30 billion brain cell versus the Spider-Man, us human, we have a lot more. We have like 84 billion brain cells. That's a lot. So the priority of this orangutan is basically the muscle. They don't need so much food or energy, because you just need to maintain ordinary bodily function, especially the muscle is top priority. So consuming raw food is sufficient for this orangutan. But for us human, we need to eat cooked food. So therefore we can supply more energy to our brains. So now, because we have a priority for the brain, our body and the brain have to juggle in order to maintain a high energy supply to the brains. So this is the neuroscientist I was telling you about, Susanna Herculano Hausel. According to her, the human brain uses very high energy. About 1 billion cell uses about 6 calories a day. You can do this calculation. But the most important thing is that this is greater secret of the brain. It's quite small, about 2% of the body mass, but up here it consumes like 20%. Sometimes if you use a lot of thinking, you read a lot of books, you really near exams, you will be consuming like almost 50% of the energy that you consume from food. So I say this is not acceptable. To make you understand, I'm going to compare orangutan by using they have this ordinary conventional kerosene light in his brain versus ordinary human uses like electricity power to make sure the brain is functioning well. So we need to maintain that energy supply to the brain. We need a lot of energy to our brain. So it's like orangutan just in ordinary kerosene, ordinary maybe diesel or biodiesel. They can maintain their brain. But for us human, we need steady supply of electricity or current to maintain our brain and thinking. So the question is, what happens if we restrict or disrupt the supply of this current to human brain? What will happen, do you think? Okay, so the brain is like muscles. It is an energy dependent organ and energy sapper. The bigger the muscle, the more creative you are, the more energy you need to keep your brain running, to keep thinking. Yeah, and we, as mentioned before, more than 25% energy from food we eat is consumed by the brain. So again, imagine what if the supply of energy to the brain is disrupted. Imagine. Okay, imagine that. Now imagine this: A versus B. Lion A versus lion B. Which of this lion do you think is more likely being kept in captivity? So which one looks a lot more stressful, lion A or lion B? You can imagine, if you are kept in captivity in the zoo, you will be more stressful because your life is no longer natural. You cannot run around. You have to be kept in captivity. So B is the more stressful one. Yeah. So school or seminars or conferences, or sometimes we go to work, being confined in spaces, that is like a zoo. So captivity, zoo or circus makes certain animals more stressful, and because of this they age faster, they consume a lot of energy in the brains. So my point is, our audience is forced to drain their willpower, their thinking energy, and that makes them difficult to focus on our presentations. Okay, now that audience versus that audience A versus audience B, orangutan versus these kids, school children, which audience do you think more likely to be your audience, A or B? So my point is, I'm not saying your audience are orangutan, but their brain power, the ability to pay attention, to focus, is like the willpower of orangutan. They are very weak, they are very slow. They need some kind of enlightening. Okay, so willpower is in BM called daya juang, the ability to control oneself and to determine your actions. As a pop presenter, your job is to keep your audience awake and make sure they are always interested in what you're going to say. Okay, so I hope you get it. The reason why we need to do pop, one of the many reasons, is that the willpower, the ability to control themselves, start to go down during the whole presentation. They become bored. Their willpower goes down because their brain use a lot of energy. So you must do something to keep them interested and to keep them wanting to know more about your presentation. Otherwise, you will lose them. Okay guys, thank you and happy learning.